C2 Wrestling Podcast. We are back, sponsored by Tommy Boy, our mascot, the official mascot of C2 Wrestling, our first official sponsor. Tommy Boy, he's for us, he's for you. Night of Champions, almost said Saturday night's main event because that was on my mind.
Coming up.
Night of Champions, it is coming up. Preview and predictions. It's going to be a doozy, but none of it is relevant until we know how you're doing, Snowden.
How you doing? Like Enzo Amore, Big Cass, what a time that was. I am doing, it might as well be a billion degrees out. It might as well be a billion degrees in this room we're recording in right now, or I'm recording in. Unfortunately, we're not together at the moment. We will be together pretty soon, though. So we're looking forward to that. But I'm good. Night of Champions coming up. I'm excited for the event. Some downsides to it, don't get me wrong, for sure. But I'm still excited overall for what we got coming. So I'm looking to get into it. I'm going to flip the question back to you. How you doing?
Besides the fact I texted you, I was taking a shower right before this.
Yeah.
Randomly just had a first blood match. Good. Fitting, I'm wearing a bad blood shirt. Randomly, just nose leaking blood.
Yeah, it happens, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. As I've gotten older, I've gotten some random nosebleeds. It's nothing fucking. Some people just get nosebleeds, but it kind of goes like my sinuses are a little fucked up. You wouldn't know anything about that. Um,
Nah.
but
Sinus.
I was sick for a week with just insane congestion. So my nose was just fucking all fucked up, whatnot. And look, people will say they don't pick their nose. You find me any person that is finishing being sick or is like tail end being sick, and you got a few that are latched on that hurt, and you're like, I gotta get this out.
Hey,
Let's be
listen,
honest.
you got to do what you got to do
Yeah.
sometimes, all right? And I'm going to be honest here, too. I ain't got no shame. I could be right here in my room alone. I could be out and about. I'm digging deep. I got
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But it can fuck up your nose, scratch it up a little bit. So I think that kind of caused the random leaking of blood out of my nose. But
mm-hmm.
besides that, I'm very excited for Saturday. It is, I guess, I don't want to rant about it, but it's not Night of Champions. It's fucking King and Queen of the Ring
Yeah.
finals, or royalty in the ring, whatever. It's not Night of Champions.
No.
This isn't. This may be a
There's
fucking crown
less
jewel. I
title
don't know.
matches than non-title matches. Or there's less
Yeah,
non-titles than title matches. Yeah, you get what
yes,
I'm saying.
yeah.
God.
I knew what you meant. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's fucking. I mean, there's
It's
two title matches, and you mentioned it, and it
I
was
guess
spot
there
on.
was supposed to be a third, I guess. I get it, sure.
Yeah, you mentioned it, and it was spot on. Like, don't get me wrong. I want Raw and SmackDown to have title matches. I want those shows to be relevant. I want the Gunther title change, on a Raw beating Jey Uso where people don't expect it. You want that. That is the main events of a Intercontinental Championship or US title, whatever. That is good. It does help the weekly shows. It is a little annoying though when you have a pay-per-view called Night of Champions and Raw had the women's IC title match. SmackDown has two title matches. And then the following Raw has another title match, the tag titles. And you have this pay per view that's supposed to be about the champions. And there's only two title matches.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're booked into a corner a little bit with the upcoming Saturday night's main event and Evolution. Because if it wasn't for that, Goldberg versus Gunther is probably in Saudi. We probably get a women's title match or two on the card as well. I completely understand them not wanting to waste the women in Saudi, so that's fair. King and Queen of the Ring leads up to SummerSlam matches. I get it. Can you throw that tournament at a Night of Champions? Yeah, I guess. Like it kind of fits the bill, I suppose. But again, it's been its own PLE in the past. It might as well just stay that way. King and Queen of the Ring was not needed. They introduced more titles in the last couple of years into WWE with the women's mid-card titles, and this is the least titles we ever had on a Night of Champions. We're big on the 4, 5, 6 match PLEs. We are proponents of that. But if there's ever a PLE that should have 8 or 9 matches, one night PLE. It's probably the one that is advocating for a Night of Champions.
I think what makes it a little more annoying, two things. One, this all could have been solved if they just didn't call this Night of Champions. If they just
Mm-hmm.
called it literally fucking anything.
Night of non-champions. It'd
They
be
could have
better.
just called this the Saudi special, and this
Yeah.
automatically makes more sense. The more annoying, and not more annoying, what adds to the annoyance is you have the King and Queen of the Ring finals. Cool. I immediately hated things about the tournament when the first round was fatal four-way
Yeah,
matches,
that's ridiculous.
and it just wasn't. This isn't a King of the Ring tournament. This isn't a Queen of the Ring tournament. This is a number one contenders tournament. This doesn't have the same feel as, you know, when Gunther won it last year, whatever. Like
They've
it,
they've
it
done
lost that allure so quick.
they've done similar kind of throw it together tournaments for a lot of these Saudi shows, and it's kind of what we get out of these Saudi shows. Granted, we're getting a John Cena versus CM Punk match. It seems like we're getting some big stuff in a way, and we have got that trickled in some of these Saudi shows, but usually it's just kind of something that we can kind of pretend has a lot of value for the Saudi crowd, and does it have a little bit more value now than it used to? Because, yeah, at least the winner of this isn't going to be Shane McMahon that runs around with a trophy for a couple months, or whatever it may be. Whoever wins these matches at least gets SummerSlam title matches. But, yeah, they've just thrown stuff together to try and please the Saudi crowd, the people officiating over there. I don't know. Who knows? But that's also a damper on this entire show, is that it is not a Night of Champions. And one of the two title matches we're getting is one of the most illustrious. We've been waiting 15 years to see this match again, and it's happening in Saudi. John Cena versus CM Punk. We're going to get into it all. We'll touch on that one a little bit later on, I'm sure. But again, there's definitely some things dampening this card. But I have seen a lot of people online. I've seen this left and right on Twitter lately. People shitting on the potential matchups that we're going to have during the Saudi event. Oh, this is going to be a great PLE for the in-ring wrestling. Okay. I need to comment on that because we got the Queen of the Ring, right? Asuka, who just returned. Everybody loves Asuka. Up and coming Jade Cargill that people have been begging to see more of. Cool. What is there to complain about there? I'm on the boat that Jade still has a little bit to improve on, yes, but this can be that moment for her. I don't see any reason to complain about that match. Again, we just briefly talked about Punk Cena. We're going to get into it all, but I think the in-ring matches we're getting, they can put on a stellar show. I don't think it's going to be anything bad.
Yeah, it's the classic case of they're going to complain either way.
Mm.
People say they don't give a fuck about the Saudi shows, and then they're like, "Oh, these matches are going to suck." It's like, well, I thought you didn't care about the Saudi shows, so fucking why do you care? Don't you? If you want the best matches, if these are waste matches to you, then they're putting it on the event that you don't give a fuck about anyway. So
Yes.
they're doing you a favor.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, I'm actually invested. I actually think these are all good in-ring performers and they're all
Mm-hmm.
good. And I'm interested in all of these things. So whatever. There's, as Chris Van Vliet said, wrestling's a buffet. There's something for everyone. There's some things I really don't like on this card. There's some things that I like a lot. And since we're kind of going with the negatives, then going to the positive, I'll finish on a negative, then swing to the positive. I think also a big damper is right now, this is a very compact schedule where we are
Yeah.
going into this PLE. Saturday night's main event and Evolution are right around the corner. And then right around the corner is the first ever two-night SummerSlam.
Mm-hmm.
So is it a bit of misfortune? Yes. Is it of their own doing? Also, yes. To bring the positive, to bring it back, I'm interested in all of these things, whether they're happening in Saudi or not. I think all of these matches make sense. Should they all be on this card itself? No, that's an argument separate. But all these matches are logical. They're all justified. They're all stories that have been happening, whatnot. They're all culminations or beginnings of stories. So the card itself, I don't have an issue with. My biggest issue is that they're calling it Night of Champions and it's not Night of Champions.
Yeah, that's really what it comes down to. It's not Night of Champions. with recent world events, the last thing this podcast is ever going to do is get political. But with recent world events, I don't know if having the show in Saudi still is the greatest idea. So there's definitely some things that are a bit questionable going in. But again, getting into some positives, I am very much looking forward to the actual card we're getting. So I might as well get right into it. You got the card in front of you. What match you want to start with?
I think it's right that we start with the match we'll probably talk the least amount about, and
Mm-hmm.
that's Rhea Ripley versus Raquel.
Yep.
Now, this isn't a bad matchup. This actually is one that you and I are more like would probably oddly die on this hill just from how strong the other side has become about it.
Mm-hmm.
That I think this is actually a very good matchup, and I think these
Yep.
two, if memory serves me right, they faced in like a street fight or something not too long ago, probably too close to this match, but on a Raw that finished with, I want to say, Rhea putting Raquel through the table and pinning her, something like that. My memory's been shaky these last few weeks. I like Raquel. I obviously love Rhea. I
Yeah.
like Raquel. I don't understand like the huge outrage against her. To me, she's like she is not bad. Do I think she's like the top of the top? No, but she fills her role, I think, really well. And this
Yeah.
is like the perfect matchup. To me, it's just like they're gonna bitch either way. My complaint, I said to you right before we came on, to me, this makes more sense for Evolution. It's got a
Mm-hmm.
stipulation to it. It's, it is two legit members of the women's roster. But I get it. I get why they put it in Saudi. I understand. And Rhea's obviously a fucking mega star. So
Yeah.
I get it. You want to have her on the card, but
I
people
have a
just fucking
little
bitch about everything, man.
I do have a couple things to get into with this one actually, and you're absolutely spot on. People are just going to bitch to bitch. You know, Raquel was one of the most dominant women in NXT history, a great NXT title run. Gets called up to the main roster, and we here at C2 Wrestling have talked about this before. Gets called up to the main roster, has some conditions, whatever went on with her health, is off TV for a while, finally makes her way back to the ring, and people hate her all of a sudden. I do not get it. Is the hate kind of in shadow of like Rhea Ripley becoming a megastar? I really don't know, but like Raquel lost some steam. Sure, I get it, but I don't think there's any reason to dislike Raquel. I think Raquel is amongst the top women in the company. I think from an in-ring ability, and I think from a promo ability, which hate on me if you want, a lot of the women struggle with. I feel like that is a big focal point for the women is they don't cut the promos as well as some of the others. And I think Raquel is very good in that department. And Raquel is one of the women, like Rhea Ripley, that has some size to her, is intimidating, is an actual beast. Like I can see Raquel and Rhea having a great match. I can actually make an argument that they're not wasting this match like we're going to get into later on with some other matches, but this is a potential future SummerSlam, WrestleMania main event type match, Raquel versus Rhea. And they're putting it on a not so big PLE, which is okay. Raquel's not quite there yet. But my fear is that, to your point, this could better fit Evolution. Why isn't it at Evolution? Because there's something they're doing here. Raquel is going to beat Rhea with Roxanne's help. Roxanne is going to get that tag title. Roxanne and Raquel are going to face. I still think there's potential that the Bellas are coming, but are they really just going to pull some cheesy shit and pair Rhea up with like Kairi Sane, who injured Liv Morgan, and they have another, I should say, thrown together women's tag title match? Don't like that at all. I would absolutely hate that. I'd truthfully rather that women's tag titles not be defended at Evolution than get put in some throwaway match like that.
Yeah, I kind of hold out hope that those reports on them just keeping the title on Live. Hell, just it's so easy when it's on a team that's a faction
It's just
that
gonna be
you
out
can
like 6 months, right? Isn't that the report?
yeah, that you can just have it be it's the Judgment Days titles. And when Liv comes back, you can do the whole story. No, I'm the tag team champion, not you. Kick rocks, whatever.
Yeah.
They can hold the titles the entire time. I think you may be onto something. To me, it's just like there's going to be some matches on Evolution where they just want to get people on the card, which is fine. They do the same
Mm-hmm.
thing with WrestleMania, but like Rhea and Kyrie is just
Exactly.
it
Yeah.
just because Kyrie accidentally injured a Liv and like that it's just not far fetched. That's why it's so head scratching. Like
I mean,
it's not far
maybe
fetched that they do that.
it is not far fetched. Maybe there's a world where it's not Kyrie Sin, and this is no shade on Kyrie. Even it's just it would just be so thrown together. It's such a universe mode tag team. Stephanie Vaquer fits the bill a little bit better. Maybe Rhea goes looking for a tag team partner and gets Stephanie. You know, that's how they get Stephanie on the card. But can you also use Stephanie in like a higher capacity at Evolution? Probably. So, and it's still pretty thrown together. You know, it just on paper that is a better team, Stephanie and Ripley versus any women's tag team, realistically. But I do think there is a story, even if they do a tag title match, that Roxanne and Raquel would have to retain. I completely agree with the idea that they should hold these tag titles until Liv comes back, and then you play the story into it. Liv wants the title back. Roxanne was never champion. Blah blah blah.
1000%. But for this Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
you're picking Raquel.
Absolutely, definite.
I I'm kind of torn because on one hand, it's the Saudi show. And
Yeah,
fucking
they want those superstars.
they
Yeah.
want the superstars. You know the crowd's gonna be crazy for Rhea. On the other hand, boy, does Raquel need this fucking win. Even
Mm-hmm.
even being with the help of Roxanne, she needs this win big time.
Well,
And
now you
the
you have an
story of them
opportunity.
like you're the fucking you're the big dog of
Yeah,
the Judgment Day. Like
exactly.
she needs this win badly.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Is the whole story of Raquel being the like big dog of the Judgment Day now, without it having Liv, it needs to happen. A Raquel win needs to happen here. And this is that win that puts Raquel on that map a little bit more too. You know, Raquel might not have a women's mid card or world title run for a while, but this is that type of match that can be like that slow propeller for her.
Yeah, I'm also gonna go with Raquel. I'm gonna label it as a can't lose, not a must win.
Yeah,
Because
yeah. I
I
guess
can
it's not a
absolutely
must
see
win.
it's a can't lose. I'm stealing this from PMT.
Yeah.
This is a can't lose. You know, she could it could be DQ and she just beats the brakes off Rhea,
Oh,
whatever.
exactly what I was going to. Yeah.
There is a match though that is 1000% a must win for one person.
Who do you got? Let's hear it.
The United States Championship match.
Absolutely. That lead in made me know exactly what you were getting to. We here at C2 Wrestling, we're on the same page. You put that United States Championship around the waist of Solo Sikoa, or we riot. And that is no shade to the beast, the Samoan werewolf, Jacob Fatu. We love Fatu. That guy is the next big thing. He truly is. There's so much great up and coming talent in WWE. And when you look at a lot of names like Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, Austin Theory, Carmelo Hayes, Jacob Fatu, so many names stand out. Obafemi, Trick Williams. There's NXT names that haven't even made the main roster yet. Jacob Fatu is going to be the guy that takes the mantle when he's almost said and done of Brock Lesnar type runs, Roman Reigns type runs. Like they're going to build around Jacob Fatu. He's going to have his time. We've talked about this recently. If not now for Solo, then never. Then never.
It feels like this could be the debut for Hikuleo.
Yeah,
It feels. I know he debuted on main event
that
technically.
doesn't count.
Ah, it doesn't fucking count. Let's be
Yeah.
honest. If Solo loses this match, I don't know how you could, at that point, tell your fan base you should care about anything else that he does. Because at that point, he literally, his only win, his only relevant win is against John Cena years ago that people shit on to this day for how it happened, whatnot. Like, he doesn't beat fucking anybody.
Mm-hmm.
He really doesn't. And I don't want to hear the, oh, he pinned so and so in this tag match, whatever. No. Winning a single match compared to winning a title or winning a feud, those go longer. Solo needs to win this because we know Jacob's going to be just fine. We
Yeah.
love Jacob. Jacob, hell, after this solo feud, he might be in a world title feud or a WWE
Mm-hmm.
title feud. That's not far fetched.
He
That's
could
his
win the
next.
Rumble.
He could. That's not far fetched at all. If Solo loses this, man, what the fuck? I don't want to say this is like the most predictable thing ever, but I can easily see JC Mateo gets involved. Jimmy comes to even the odds. Hikuleo debuts, takes out Jacob Fatu. Solo gets the spike, maybe two or three spikes, and is the first one to pin Fatu on the main roster. Like
Mm.
that to me, Fatu can win it back at fucking SummerSlam for all we care.
Yeah, yeah.
That would go so much farther for Solo by far.
It absolutely does. And I'm imagining the idea here is to build towards Survivor Series. Solo Sikoa, JC Mateo, potentially, obviously, Hikuleo versus Fatu, Jimmy and Jay, Fatu, Tamatanga, Tongaloa. I don't really know the timetable on those guys, but how are you not going to do? I mean, they've done this a couple times, I guess, but the Samoans versus the Samoans at Survivor Series. I feel like the story is kind of there. That can almost be the culmination of the Fatu Solo feud. Maybe one more match follows that. These feuds are long-term storytelling, but Solo has to win. Absolutely. I've tried to in my head write out how Fatu could win and should win, and I really can't. Usually I can go, all right, well, I can see this happening and Fatu could win that way. And at least that makes a little bit of sense. It makes no sense here. Fatu retaining doesn't really do it for me. I'm not going to lie. That will be, and there's some other matches, again, we're going to get into that. I have some things I'm going to be upset with that if they happen. But Fatu winning would probably be the thing I'm going to leave Night of Champions the most upset about.
I got a question.
Mm-hmm.
Rikishi bitches so much. Where the fuck is your complaints for how Solo gets done? Because he gets done dirty. Okay? I know he's on the fucking. He's always in relevant stories and he's had a super long stint being the main event of SmackDown, main event of Raw.
Yeah.
I get that. But man, you were bitching about Jay winning the Rumble and shit, that it still wasn't good enough. Where's your complaints for fucking Solo? Because my God, now we got people saying, oh man, looking back at it, the heat that Solo is generating with the Roman story with Heyman, blah, blah, boy, it was so good. Yeah, we fucking told you it was good when it was happening. The guy's been good. He's always been good. You guys are just fucking waking up to it now. And if he loses here, fuck, man.
We are on the money a lot, I'd like to say here, with our interpretations, our respect to certain wrestlers, their in-ring ability, their mic ability, just the character they are. And we've always been on the Solo train. We always have been. Ever since NXT, ever since that come up, it's his time. He needs a little bit more time to shine. Like you said, I would like Solo to hold it at SummerSlam because I predict other title changes also happening at SummerSlam. But he doesn't need to hold it that long either. In fact, I would rather him lose it to somebody other than Fatu. I don't think the Solo Fatu feud after Solo wins it even needs the US title. I think you could have Solo lose it to a guy like an Aleister Black, and then it's mixed up in some feud there while Fatu and Solo still have their thing going on. There's a lot of avenues this story can go. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I'm picking Solo Sikoa with a Hikuleo debut.
I completely agree. That is also what I'm going with. And it's one of those where good job on WWE. For better or for worse, they have me emotionally invested in this. Maybe not for the right reasons, maybe it is the right reasons. But they have me. Solo may as well be the fucking baby face in this match to me. And
Yeah.
I love.
Let's go Solo. Let's go.
Yeah, I can't stress it enough. I love Jacob Fatu. I
Love
love him.
Jacob Fatu.
The reason why I'm so passionate about it is because I know he's going to be just fine. It's not a worry. I'm not saying this is an apples to apples comparison, but it's for when John Cena's facing a fucking Wade Barrett, and it's like, Cena's gonna be fine. You don't have those worries. I worry about this guy. This is my guy, and I worry about what's after if he loses here.
Yeah, I mean, and if Solo wins, the internet fans are going to go crazy. Oh my God, Fatu is buried. He lost to Solo Sikoa. Oh my God, cry me a river. This guy deserves his flowers. It is forever and always going to be more than what just goes on in the ring, about more than what just goes on in the ring. There's a story to be told here. And for that story to progress further and to keep me locked in, you put that strap on Solo Sikoa.
Completely agree. So we'll head on to the next match. We'll save the main event and the tournament for the final three. We'll shift over to a match that is quite interesting. You know, we mentioned the online talk. Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross probably is the main match that Kross has become a bit of a polarizing person as of late on wrestling social media because it's caused a great divide. Again, another guy that we have always been behind, but it's caused a great divide where,
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I'm just checking my receipts.
yeah,
Yeah. We've always been on the Karrion Kross realm as well.
yeah,
Love that
and
guy.
and now it is you either love him and want him pushed to the moon, or you think randomly he's the worst fucking wrestler ever, which is just again to your opinion,
These
whatever.
people didn't watch him in TNA as Killer Kross. They haven't seen him on the Independents. He has a stint in Lucha Underground. They didn't watch him in NXT then. If you didn't, you don't get it. Did Karrion Kross get a little tarnished under that Vince call up? Yes, obviously. Has he recovered tenfold? Yes, obviously. The guy can go on that mic better than most. He can go in that ring better than a lot. Karrion Kross, I'm loving that he's actually starting to get some flowers. To your point of bringing up that negative side of the internet fans, I don't get it. This is one that I really cannot wrap my head around, how people aren't starting to see the light with a guy like Karrion Kross.
The biggest thing for me is in a industry so big on respect and whatnot, and the fans, if you do things, you know, you earn their respect. When you're one of them, when you're someone who was known that you're a fan, people tend to gravitate towards you, whatever. To me, the big hook, line, and sinker was actually when Shotzi came out and talked about how Karrion Kross like puts his own money and does all these things. He puts it all into it. Like he is so invested. And yes, it is for himself, but not everybody's doing that. Plenty of
Yep.
people will fucking just take the check until their future endeavor, then hit the indies again, whatever. Someone who cares so much and
Arians.
is yeah, someone who's carrying the business right now. Someone who cares so much. He's putting out fucking documentaries, you name it. To me, it's like, how can you not at the least be like, I respect what this guy has done, that he deserves getting this match. He deserves a prominent story, whatnot. I don't get the divide. Like, there's always some where I'm like, okay, I get it, whatever. I don't agree with it. This is one that truly like kind of fucking scratches my head. But at the same time too, like I've always really liked The Miz, and people still to
Love the
this day,
Miz.
yeah, people still to this day shit on him. And I'm always like, oh, maybe it's just my flavor. Then I watch Cody and Kevin Owens talk about how The Miz is like one of the most underappreciated wrestlers ever and how great he actually is. And I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I'm onto something.
Yeah,
I feel that way with Karrion Kross right now.
I absolutely do. And, you use the kind of phrase flavors, Karrion Kross, the Miz. These are common flavors. We're eating chocolate or vanilla ice cream here. We're not eating fucking pecan blueberry ice cream. It's not some odd choice. These are guys that can go on the mic, go in the ring. I don't get it with a lot of the hate we see to a lot of superstars. Are there people that we hate? Hate is a strong one. You know what I mean? Are there superstars I'm not in favor of? I'm not the biggest fan of? Yeah, sure. Of course.
1000%.
Everybody can have favorites, non-favorites, whatever. But you still have to respect to a point that people got where they are, however they did. I'm not a Becky Lynch fan. I get it, though. I get it. I understand why Becky is in the spotlight and had a good run in this, that. To me, it doesn't really click, but I absolutely understand it and I respect it. The Karrion Kross thing is crazy to me, man. Now, the match itself, Sami Zayn has had a weird trajectory over the last couple of years. He's a guy that before Cody won that title, fuck, you could have put that thing on Sami Zayn, man. Let's just run a hypothetical and say Cody got hurt going into Mania 40. That's your guy, right? It would have been Sami Zayn, you would think, unless they hold it for Cody a little longer. But peak, he was at the peak of the company at points. He's with Owens, he's not with Owens. So many feuds, tag teams back and forth. Jey Uso, Cody. He's had a long babyface run. This whole Karrion Kross turning people heel type storyline, I like it. I don't know if that's exactly where it's going with Sami Zayn. I do think Karrion Kross needs to win this match. I think this is a match that Karrion has to win to progress Karrion. Sami can take L's. He's one of those guys that can take 100 L's, especially considering he's probably going to win the Rumble. So it doesn't really matter. Sami can lose 100 matches in a row. You win the Royal Rumble, it kind of erases all 100 matches. I can see a world, and I wouldn't be mad if Sami were to win by cheating. But not like outright, like turns heel cheating, but like, kind of secretly pulls the tights, pulls a fast one on Karrion Kross. Any sort of way that when he gets that schoolboy pin and he pulls the tights and you see Sami Zayn running up the ramp, Karrion Kross is in the ring laughing at it because he knows he's corrupting Sami Zayn. Storytelling.
This one I'm completely split on because on one hand, I'm like, Karrion needs to win this to get the heel heat in Saudi. They'd boo him out of the building. Sammy's the uber baby face here. So a piece of me is like, and Karrion could really use a win. He needs to also, in similar to like Raquel, needs that like respect. Like, all right, he can still win these matches. He hasn't in a while, but he could still win these matches. On the flip side, it is a Saudi show.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it is just that cut and dry with the Saudi shows. Like, yep, babyface wins, heel
Yep.
loses. They can do it in a way, like you mentioned. They could also do it in a way where maybe Sammy just shows a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
during the match.
Maybe
Not
he hits,
poke,
it
whatever.
he gets pissed off and instead of pinning after one haluva kick, he goes for 3 or 4 or something.
Yeah,
Takes
maybe
his anger out on
maybe
Karrion.
at some point he pushes the ref, gets in the
Yeah,
ref's
exactly.
face, something,
Exactly.
those little things where it shows what Kross is doing. So when it comes to Monday Night Raw, Karrion Kross has that promo and says, I lost, but did I really lose?
Mm-hmm.
When he's talking to Scarlett, like, we're getting him where we want him. He may have pinned me, but we're winning. We're getting there. We've got him right where we want him. So I'm not going to be upset if Karrion Kross loses. I will be annoyed if it is
Cut and
cut
dry.
dry. Blue Thunder Bomb kicks out, Haluva kick, 3. Fans go crazy. There's nothing that really latches on, like, all right, this is the next chapter of the story.
Yeah, I find myself in a weird spot with the Sami Zayn win, even though again I said I wouldn't hate it if it happens a certain way. Because Karrion is being built for like a SummerSlam spot. He should be on the card for SummerSlam. If he loses here, I don't like. What are they going to do? Run it back at SummerSlam? I don't think so. I think if he were to win, there's a better opportunity they run it back. Unless Sami cheats again, blah blah blah. Maybe there's a way they can run it back there. They might not at all. I don't know. But again, I'm going to go with Karrion here. I'm going to choose Karrion because I think he needs it. I think he needs it more than Sami does. You're absolutely spot on. Saudi crowd, it's cut and dry, cookie cutter, good guy beats bad guy 10 times out of 10. But I'm going to go Karrion here in hopes that they're doing more with a guy like Karrion Kross and also Scarlett as well. That's a pair right there. He's got a great mouthpiece by his side. He's got that word that they use online that we love so much. He's got the aura, that everybody loves to use. I think they need to do more with him. I'm going Karrion Kross.
I'm going to go Sammy. I think you kind of sold me a bit on Sammy wins, but he gives those
Yeah.
flashes where
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Karrion's winning. Sammy
By
won.
losing.
And I think there's a good chance this story ends where Sammy ends up breaking the mold
Yep.
and Sammy doesn't turn heel and it pushes him even more as this big baby face because it feels like the long-term plan is an eventual him Rollins feud for the title. Uh so I'm gonna say Sammy wins here, but this isn't over between the two of them. At least I hope. We'll move
Yeah.
on now to the Queen of the Ring finals. We've talked about this match a bit, but we'll rehash it for those who haven't watched our SmackDown or Raw post shows. We have Jade Cargill, we have Asuka, both with very clear paths on what they're doing after this. It is just who gets there from winning Queen of the Ring.
Yeah, it's exactly that. The idea is Io versus Asuka, Jade versus Tiffany. Naomi cashes in. Bianca's involved to some degree, perhaps. I can see a world where Asuka wins this match and then Jade gets a match on SmackDown against Nia or somebody and wins the number one contender, whatever. I can see a world where Jade wins this match and Asuka beats whoever to get the match against Io. I think the Queen of the Ring is a little bit more suited for Asuka right now. I don't know. To me, it's just I don't know if I can be sold on Jade beating Asuka right now. And again, this is a match that two people they want to see these people. You know, people love Asuka. Jade is this up and comer. Jade is still a little on the green side for me. You know, I like what they're doing. It's been a slow roll with Jade. There was a bit of an injury there. That's the whole storyline with her, Naomi, and Bianca. So I guess she was off TV for a while because of that, whatever it might be. It is time to kind of push her a little bit more. But I don't know. I don't know if they're going to sell me on Jade beating Asuka.
I don't know why, but when I close my eyes, I picture that image of Jade with the crown on her head doing the pose. And
So
I think
yeah, that
that's what's kind of leaning me towards picking Jade here.
I can absolutely see that. And that is like, if it doesn't happen this time, that's going to happen eventually. But I think there's a bit more of like they really want to sell Jade as the baby face of the women. So you have Jade lose this match. Oh, we wanted Jade to get her title match. How is she going to get there? She goes through this other rigorous contenders match to finally get her shot at SummerSlam. She finally wins the big one, and Naomi takes it away in an instant. You know, I think that's going to help build Jade in the long run, is kind of that slow roll. It's kind of the same thing if she just wins the tournament and gets the number one contenders anyway. But I think there's a bit of a way to add a little bit more like oomph to that baby face power that she might have by having her lose a couple before she gets that big ultimate I'm actually champion win.
Yeah, I think Naomi could very well cost her in
Yes.
this match. That's not far fetched at all. I'm gonna pick Jade, but to me, like this truly feels like the ultimate coin flip on this
Yes.
card. This feels
Yeah.
like the most, this can go either way. And when it happens, we'll be like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Just because we can logically see either side winning.
Yeah.
So I'll pick Jade, but I mean, I
Coin flip.
saying 51-49 is unfair. It's like
50-50. Yeah. Yeah.
50.149.9 right now.
Yeah. Yeah. It is right down the middle on this one. Just to be different, I'll go Asuka. We'll split the vote on this one. I'll be fine with it regardless. Either way it goes down, doesn't matter to me. Asuka or Jade can win. That's a likely Queen of the Ring, even at the beginning of the tournament. I think we were able to see the bigger picture here, so can't be mad either way.
Yeah, should have gotten there with singles matches, but
Yeah, we'll drive that point home.
yeah, that's neither here nor there. We'll go to the men's side of things. The men's finals, the King of the Ring finals. And I've bitched about it plenty. I feel like I still got a few more minutes to bitch about it, but it's one of those where I don't know if I can build that bridge to get over it. I get this may lead to the turn of one of them. I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it. I understand that. It's just why this way?
Wildly unnecessary. You know, there's so many gimmicks in WWE, the Royal Rumble, the Money in the Bank, the King of the Ring. There's all these sorts of things that, you know, build people, you know, help you get championship matches, you know, whatever it might be. People always cry when the Money in the Bank doesn't go to an up and comer. I like when it doesn't go to an up and comer. It's a bit more realistic. It's great when it does, but it can't happen every year. You don't want every superstar's first win to be the WWE Championship. They got to collect those accolades, Rusev's on the way there. And it's the same kind of story right here with this King of the Ring, where this might have been the year where the King of the Ring should have went to somebody that's a little bit more under Orton and Cody. I still think this could have been LA Knight's potential win. Maybe he gets a title match. Even if he would have lost, I think an LA Knight Cena match would have been great for the Cena retirement tour. LA Knight off TV for the time being. Some injuries due to 94 tsunamis, whatever it may have been. But I still think he's involved in a solid feud there with this Rollins faction. So I'm not mad at it, but I am still mad that they're wasting this Cody Punk, I'm gonna say Cody Punk, this Cody Orton match. I don't quite understand it. Do I love the idea of a Cody Orton match? Yes, of course. But again, we are here for the storytelling. It's not all about just the match itself.
I get that. This could be chapter 1 of Cody Orton.
Mm,
But I don't want Cody Orton to be in during this Cena retirement tour because Cody's still kind of going for the title. Like, I don't want that to be Cody's holdover if, say, Cody beats Orton and Orton costs him against Cena and Cody goes into that Orton feud to get back to Cena in the end.
mm-hmm.
Orton's on heel. This is pure hypothetically speaking. I don't want that because I want the Cody Orton feud to be the feud, not to
Mm-hmm.
be essentially what Cody Brock was, where we're just building him up to get to Roman. I don't
Yeah.
want that. I want that to be the marquee, whether Cody's champion or Orton's champion, 4 to 6 months. They're main eventing either a WrestleMania, a SummerSlam, or a Royal Rumble. One of those
Mm-hmm.
top three. That's what I want. Having it here, I mean, we're gonna get one promo from them tomorrow, and then it's the match.
Yeah.
That's all. That's the extra to it too. It's like you find out the match on Monday, they have one show on Friday, and then they
Mm-hmm.
face on Saturday.
Yeah. It's also too with a guy like Randy Orton who's been around for an eternity at this point. This isn't even like a second coming of Orton. This is like a third or a fourth coming of a guy like Randy Orton. He's been around for so long and he's kind of better than ever in his 40s, going into his 50s. With that said, he still only has so much left. Cody is potentially the guy to retire Orton when he's said and done. And you're potentially wasting that for when it can happen. I just don't know, man. I don't know. I like it's a waste. I'm really upset with this one being wasted in Saudi because I was upset over Cody Gunther when that happened at Crown Jewel. But that was like, all right, like it's just this one, whatever, we'll let it go. But now they're doing it again with another big matchup in the same environment at pretty much the same event. And we have another crown jewel coming up at the end of the year. So we're going to get another like throwaway match. I don't know who will be champion at those points, but what are we going to get? Rollins, Cena? I don't know. We're going to get another throwaway match towards the end of the year. I just don't know. It's not floating my boat. I think the obvious choice here is Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes likely wins this match and goes against Cena at SummerSlam. Does he win at SummerSlam? I'm not guaranteeing that. I actually am probably 51-49 that he doesn't win at SummerSlam, but we'll see. Throwaway match because of the potential this matchup, this rivalry has, and a throwaway match because it's so predictable in this instance.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Cody as well. But again, like I don't want Cody Cena again already. Like
No, I
it's
mean, yeah.
the
Well, you can talk. I'll get into it.
the I want Cody to from the jump. I said Cody beats Cena,
Mm-hmm.
retires him, whatever. Cody's the face of the company. Are you gonna have him lose to Cena again and try to build up? That to me doesn't do it. It's not like the Mania match left me with, so much to like. Oh, I need more of this. Then on the flip side, you can have him beat Cena, where it's like it kind of feels like after this Cena pipe bomb, he's kind of getting going now. Like
Yeah.
he's kind
Yeah.
of, the ball is starting to really, things are starting to click where, okay, we found this version of heel Cena that feels realistic that we can actually buy into because we actually believe and is actually good if we're being honest. So it kind of happens at a time where it's like, oh, what are you gonna do it to turn Cody heel and Cena back fate? Like, there's a million different outcomes, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't have to run through Cody, Orton to get to this million different outcomes.
It does not have to run through Cody Orton. Honestly, the finals could have been Cody J. That could have been the finals of this King of the
Yeah.
Ring, and I think that would have fit a little bit better. It's tough, you know. I don't think Cody turns heel anytime soon. The only potential in like that I kind of like in Cody Cena facing off at SummerSlam is the idea that I do think it's going to at least slow roll the Cody heel turn, you know, and it might not even come forced by creative. I think it might come natural because I think it's exactly that. Cody losing to Cena and then them trying to build Cody again as the baby face. I do think eventually the fans will turn a little bit. I think Cody will hit a little bit of a wall. He's been around for a bit now. It's been kind of the same ultra babyface gimmick for a while. I think it will get a little stale with the fans. And towards Mania 42, I think people are going to be calling for Cody to lose the belt that he wins back off John Cena. And I think people are going to not even be dying for the Cody heel turn, but they'll be dying for something new. And that will eventually be a Cody heel turn, I think.
Yeah, it's very possible. And you also start to look at his potential matchups. I mean, if he does have that story with Orton for the longest time, we were like, oh, yeah, Orton's the heel, Cody's the face. Would be a nice little twist if it was actually
Yeah.
Cody the
You know,
heel,
Orton's been the
Orton the
best
face.
face he's ever been, too.
Yeah, then you look at, Cody Punk are going to have a legit story and a feud at some point. Maybe Cody's the heel there. You start to
Mm-hmm.
think, and then you also kind of look at like the top heels. They're always, I don't want to say they're hurting for top heels because obviously
Yeah.
there's the Gunthers of the world. There's some great heels. McIntyre's obviously great, but they've had a strong plethora of baby faces for a while. That if Cody turned heel, like that is a mega change of a
Mm-hmm.
heel to a baby face for the entire roster where, it opens up a whole new can of worms. I think he wins though to keep it just back with Night of Champions. I think he wins. I think the match will be fine. I have no issue with the match itself in ring. It'll be a good match itself.
Mm-hmm.
It just didn't have to be this way.
It did not have to be this way. I'm going to lock it in on Cody Rhodes. I am also going to lock in that we see Cody go for a Cody cutter and he gets caught into an RKO. That seems
Ooh.
inevitable. I feel like I wish that would be like a match finisher though, but I can see a Cody kick out at a late 2 for that. Cody takes the win.
To the main event. We've
Mm-hmm.
already sprinkled it here and there. It's the big match. Big match, John. John Cena versus CM Punk. Let's get the biggest travesty out of the way. Not just the fact that this match is in Saudi. I understand that gripe. The bigger gripe that isn't being talked about enough is the fact that this match isn't in Boston or Chicago. That's even worse than it being in Saudi, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's just so easy for it to be in Boston or Chicago, especially considering they like knew this Cena tour was coming. Even when you're spitballing the Cena retirement tour, Cena Punk is top of the list of like, we got to have this match. I was calling for ever that they got to run it at Money in the Bank. We run it back at Money in the Bank. I feel like that would have made the most sense, even though it's not in Chicago, it's not in Boston. Sure, fine. But they didn't. All right, maybe they're not going to run it for a little bit. I was wrong. They're going to run it the next PLE at Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia. Like, man, it's disappointing. It really is disappointing because this is also too, like you said, Cena's got the ball rolling a bit now. This is the best we've seen of Cena since he's come back. Punk is at an all-time high, still off the back of like the Drew feud. Honestly, Punk has not teetered at all. If it's not going to be Cody to dethrone Cena, the answer is CM Punk. CM Punk is the guy to take the belt off Cena if it's not going to be Cody Rhodes. And by having this match right now, you avoid that opportunity in a way. Could they still run it back in December? Yeah, sure. But it doesn't hit the same because you're running it now. So you're wasting it, in my opinion. Even though that's not probably their ultimate goal is for Punk to take the title off Cena, you're still wasting it. Again, this is however many years now in the making, this match. So much potential here. Cena wants to give back to the crowds, this, that, whatever. I'm sure deep down he doesn't give a shit about the Saudi crowd either. Nobody does. Nobody cares about the Saudi crowds. it's a different environment. It's throwaway shows. We all know that. I'm disappointed they are running this at Night of Champions.
What's also killer too is Orton Cody, the King of the Ring finals, both have made it abundantly clear the winner is going for John Cena. Like
Yeah.
it's this the whole selling point is you get a title match at SummerSlam. So you're essentially the Summer's Rumble winner
Mm-hmm.
winning this tournament. It is the same exact thing except you're getting the shot at SummerSlam instead of WrestleMania. There is zero question on who that person is going to face. That's where it kind of spins me to it sucks. I'm gonna say now I have seen it winning. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not that crazy. Um, the King of the Ring winner is immediately going for Cena. Punk probably immediately goes back into like a Rollins feud or something like that, which again, I will enjoy the feud. Is still good, but it just feels like Cena Punk is it's got that point where it's like we're getting there.
Yeah.
The fact that it seems it is hitting a stonewall end on Saturday from how things seem to be lined up to play out is upsetting. Granted, could they face a Saturday night's main event? Yes, I don't think they will, but it's still possible. I don't think that happens because you already have Goldberg Gunther. It just adds on to it like, damn, this matchup is really just quickly happening and they're moving on. I know you only have a year of Cena, you only have so many dates, but this is one that you should have had the few more weeks of build for whatever the matchup. It just fuck as soon as it really started to get hot, it's just gonna end.
Yeah. And that's been a lot of the Cena feuds thus far. And that's going to be majority of them until the big one in which he drops the title again. The more I talk about it, the more I think about it. I believe Punk is the guy more than Cody right now. I think Punk has a little bit of a higher trajectory at the moment than Cody does to win that belt back and it'd be like an all timer moment. Cody had that all timer moment so recently in a way that beating Cena again just isn't going to hit the same, in my opinion. Somebody like Punk doing it, man, like that is an all time, like Punk finally came back to WWE. He finally holds gold again against the guy that he did it to early on in his career at Money in the Bank. Like it's so easy to write for, and they're wasting it again. It really bugs me. I am also choosing John Cena here. Again, I don't think there's an ounce of potential CM Punk wins. But in that alternate world where they had CM Punk win here on Night of Champions, I would fucking despise it if they wasted that CM Punk title win in Saudi Arabia.
I was just about to say, it's actually kind of I don't want Punk to win, not because I don't like Punk,
Mm-hmm.
because it would make me even more angry if they did
More
it
angry.
this way.
If you saw our WrestleMania 41 live stream, you get it. If you haven't, go back and watch it. I would be more pissed than we were there.
1000%. And it's, again, it is not the specific decision. It's how you go about it, where you do it, when you do it, which way
Mm-hmm.
you do it, you name it. I'm all for CM Punk beating John Cena for the WWE Championship. This would be quite literally the worst combination of ways that they did it. And that would just, good Lord, would that be ass. But now we're put in a spot where it feels like we have a quite obvious finish where Cena
Mm-hmm.
is going to beat Punk and face the winner of King of the Ring, which is probably Cody Rhodes. Does this fall under predictability when done right is good? We'll see how it plays out. I've shit on it enough, but I will still watch. I will still give it a
Yeah.
chance. If it's good, I will say I didn't think it was going to be good, and it was good.
Yeah. I mean, before it all goes down, I'm going to go no. This is one of those instances where when predictability is done right, it's good. I don't think it is right now, but you got to let it play out to kind of get that ultimate decision. It's a shame. Again, the card on paper, CM Punk versus John Cena, they can face every week. I'm going to be happy about it. Again, it's a CM Punk John Cena match. I'm sure it'll be a good match. But again, there's more to it than just the match itself. The actual feud is one of the most anticipated feuds since CM Punk's return, since forever ago, before he returned, we were asking for him to come back. We were asking for them to rehash this. Oh man, imagine they ran back Punk Cena. CM Punk actually returns to WWE and they run it back. Crazy. And they're doing it. It's just a shame it's happening where it's happening. There was obviously some rumors that the show might move, and it doesn't seem like it's going to. That would have been the biggest blessing in disguise had the show moved out of Saudi to elsewhere. You could have run it in front of no crowd, and this match is better than it is happening in front of Saudi crowds.
So, real quick, we got about 5 minutes till we head on out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Since this drops on Thursday, on Friday is SmackDown. I actually was incorrect earlier. There's 3 title matches on SmackDown, not 2.
Mm-hmm.
So quickly, I'm sure we're in the same boat. Women's title, Tiffany's probably going to retain.
Correct.
The U.S. title, women's U.S. title. Does Julia just win it? And, they just used Zelina to kind of bridge from Chelsea to Julia. I think she really just might. I think she just
yeah,
might.
I think she might.
Goes into her title reign.
I think she might. I think you have a little bit more opportunity with Julia to potentially win the belt at Evolution. I think maybe Chelsea interferes and then we get a triple threat at Evolution. We're already getting an IC title women's triple threat at Evolution likely. So maybe they don't run another one, but little disappointing, I would say, for Julia to just like win the belt with ease like this on SmackDown. I do think that's going to happen though. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Julia's going to win. And then lastly,
SmackDown tag titles.
Which so much more interesting than the Raw tag division.
It is. And listen, it's baffling how much more interesting it is. Honestly, we are on the board of brand splits. I love that they split the tag titles back at Mania 40. It's about fucking time they did. But good God, pay attention to that Raw tag division. It is crazy the difference in what they've put into SmackDown in comparison to Raw. Who do I think wins? Wyatt 6. Actually, I didn't see the title card. Is it Loomis and Gacy?
Yeah.
I would imagine.
No. It might be.
I would imagine.
I saw it. Now I can't remember if Rowan was in it or not.
That would be the better pairing, in my opinion, anyways, Loomis and Gacy. I think they should run a Freebird rule with Wyatt 6. I think that's where you got the best opportunity to do so. Do I think they win them? No, not yet. I think we're going to get a mess of a interference. I think we'll get DIY comes out, and then out comes the guns, and out comes so-and-so and so-and-so. And I think maybe they postpone it a little bit. 2-night SummerSlam tag titles got to get on one of the shows. And you got to have a big moment. Maybe that's finally where the Wyatt 6 captures some gold is at SummerSlam.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested more just in the fact that if Bo never got hurt, it feels like the Wyatt 6 would have won the tag titles already. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's for the better that they didn't because we got that stretch of the tag titles being the main focus. It is a bit more interesting now because we have Fraxium in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
The Street Profits are obviously back on the rise again as champions. DIY feel much different than they did about a year ago.
Love that they added Candice to DIY.
1000%. It does feel Wyatt 6 winning the tag titles is like, okay, they can now feud with all of these teams individually.
And it's fresh.
And it's fresh and it's new. So I think maybe it's not at SmackDown. I think it ends up with the Wyatt 6 winning the tag titles. I wouldn't be shocked, though, if the Street Profits just won. I'm sure there's a little tomfoolery, whatever. But again, Wyatt 6 also kind of fall under they can't be immortal. You can't.
Yeah.
Immortal. They can't win
everything
and just be these ungodlike creatures.
Yeah.
There has to be that bit of realism to them. And as much as people were torn on the Street Profits, there's probably no better team to be the one that they take the pinfall to than the Street Profits.
It's tough. I think the way they've been booked since they've returned to the Wyatt 6, I'm pretty likely they're going to get the tag titles sooner rather than later.
Agreed.
And it's, as we've said, they should. It kind of spices up that SmackDown tag division a little bit more. I don't know. I don't know if I want to have it happen on SmackDown. Again, we've said this. I love that they're actually having like meaningful matches on SmackDown and Raw, but I also don't want every single title change to just be on those shows. They got to save some for not only SummerSlams and WrestleManias and the Royal Rumbles, but it's exciting when you get a title change out of Bad Blood, like the T-shirt you're wearing, or you get it at a Backlash. A kind of B-level PLE. So I do think they're setting up something for SummerSlam. We've got a lot of like multi-man SmackDown matches, the TLC we had on SmackDown as well around Mania. I think we might be getting another one of those though. I think maybe the Profits retain here one way or another. Profits versus Guns versus DIY versus Wyatt Six. Maybe
Well, you got Fraxium as well.
Fraxium. Yeah, it's tough with 5 teams. That's the problem with Garza's
Gauntlet.
having the AAA titles. Yeah, Gauntlet. And then Pretty Deadly's not on TV at the moment. I believe it's Elton Prince is injured. Yeah, so they're off for a little bit, but it's tough. It might just be as simple as Wyatt Six winning the tag titles on SmackDown.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if that happens, but
Yeah.
it's one of the more interesting divisions that we have. But I'm excited for it. I'm excited for SmackDown. I'm excited for Night of Champions. I don't think we mentioned it, but we will be live for it. I hope we did. We'll be live with our live reaction. So come hang out, watch us react, watch us probably do a fair amount of bitching because there's some things that we like to bitch about. But man, just imagine like Solo wins, Kross wins. My hands are hurting from clapping at that point.
Looking forward to it. It is going to be an absolute blast. If you haven't hung out with us yet during a live stream, come do it this Saturday. It's during the middle of the day. If you're on the East Coast, it's going to be a bajillion degrees out. So you got nothing better to do than sit in some AC, hang out with us, watch some wrestling. And, this drops on Thursday. As of recording this, we are 4 subscribers away from 1,000. Help us reach that 1,000 goal. Subscribe to the channel, turn notifications on, or else you're a coward.